The sprawling savannas of Australia, a land baked by sun and sculpted by wind, serve as a sanctuary to a staggering diversity of reptiles. More representatives of this ancient class of creatures call this continent home than anywhere else in the world. Moreover, these sun-kissed lands are infamous for housing the most venomous terrestrial snakes known to exist, serpents whose potent toxins can bring swift death to any creature foolish enough to cross their path. But even these masters of stealth and venom must tread carefully in their own domain, because no animal, especially when a true titan of the lizard world, stalks the landscape. This apex predator, this scaled king of the Australian wilderness, is armed with a formidable arsenal, enormous, wickedly sharp claws, bone-crushing jaws, and an unparalleled navigation system that renders any attempt at concealment utterly futile. Escape is futile. Hide it may not help, for the Komodo relative is determined. Greetings, fellow nature enthusiasts. You've tuned into Time Well Spent, and today we have an extraordinary snake hunter to introduce to you, the awe-inspiring giant monitor lizard. The giant monitor lizard, scientifically known as Venomous giganteus, but more commonly called the Perenti, may be second in size to its infamous Komodo dragon relative. However, within the vast expanse of Australia, where over 20 monitor lizard species roam, this magnificent reptile reigns supreme as the undisputed king of lizards. Typically, the Perenti reaches a body length of around 2 meters, which is a sight to see. However, exceptionally successful males can grow to an astonishing 2.5 meters in length, and their muscular frames can weigh as much as 20 kilograms. A majestic heavyweight, but the animal cannot let its strength give it overconfidence. In true cold-blooded fashion, the Perenti commences its day with a vital sunbath, basking in the life-giving rays to elevate its body temperature to an optimal level for hunting and activity. Dwelling primarily in the arid regions of Australia, this adaptable lizard sports a subtle yet striking coloration that acts as camouflage against a backdrop of dry grasses and sparse vegetation. This master of ambush is capable of patiently waiting for days in order to make its first strike. However, the excitement of active hunting is always a tantalizing, irresistible prospect. The Perenti primarily hunt smaller prey, and their meal choices are determined by what is most readily available. The mulga snake is often a favored treat, a venomous snake whom few other creatures would dare to bother. The Perenti knows it can overcome the danger and claim its prize. But all snakes must be ready for the most dangerous reptile in Australia. One common target that the Perenti will make a mission of eating is the netted brown snake, second only to the deadly taipan in the hierarchy of the world's most venomous land snakes. Averaging around 1.5 meters in length, this deadly serpent typically preys on rodents, which succumb within seconds to even the smallest dose of its paralyzing neurotoxins. Even the mightiest snake will not challenge what is coming, but the snake will adjust its hunting plans with the sudden appearance of a far more formidable hunter, whom few can challenge. Such a titan, possessing immense size and power, has little interest in meager rodents. It's constantly on the lookout for more substantial meals. The snake is no fool though, and sensing danger, seeks refuge in a nearby burrow to avoid tempting fate. But escape is never guaranteed when a Perenti is on the hunt. Gliding across the sun-baked savanna, the monitor lizard constantly flicks its incredibly sensitive forked tongue, tasting the air and using its keen sense of smell to pinpoint exactly how long ago and in what direction its quarry vanished. That incredibly long neck gives it an advantage in finding its prize, even inside of a hole. This allows the Perenti to deftly reach inside any secluded hiding place, where it snatches the hapless snake in its vice-like jaws. Then, in a blur of scales and muscle, the reptile is dragged out of its would-be safe haven and swallowed whole in a matter of seconds to be digested over the coming hours. If the burrow proves too constricting, the Perenti doesn't hesitate to employ its enormous claws, rending apart even the most fortified shelter as if it were made of mere sand, expanding the hole just enough to reach its terrified prize. In addition to snakes, the Perenti's diverse diet includes any other lizard it may stumble upon, ground-dwelling birds, and a wide range of mammals, including even young, relatively defenseless kangaroos. Emu eggs are considered an especially prized delicacy. The monitor will stop at nothing to claim such a tasty treat. To protect its young, the large fowl will have to defend her nest from the giant's wrath, which, despite their impressive size, they quickly learn to avoid getting in the way of and hastily retreats, leaving the reptile to its feast. Carrion also represents an easy source of sustenance, and like a living vacuum cleaner, a hungry monitor lizard will sweep away anything remotely edible that lies in its path, leaving a clean sweep in its wake. Fortunately for other would-be scavengers and the ecosystem, due to their slow metabolism, monitor lizards require 10 times less food than warm-blooded predators of similar size, which is also why the monitor may take days to make a decision on what or whom it will hunt. It may not have to and simply eat some carrion that it finds. Among Australia's deadliest reptiles, the mulga, also known as the royal brown snake, commands a fearsome reputation for its potent venom and impressive length. It is distinguished not only by extremely effective toxins, but also by a body that can exceed 3 meters long. Yet, even this formidable predator tries with all its might to avoid an encounter with the Perenti. However, the effectiveness of escape is often questionable, because the speed of a charging monitor lizard can approach 40 kilometers per hour, making it one of the fastest moving reptiles on Earth. The predator relentlessly pursues its target, quickly closing the distance and employing its tried and true tactics, violently shaking its victim with incredible force, then easily shattering bones and tearing flesh with razor-sharp teeth. Most lizards can only move in short bursts. Since bending their bodies prevents them from fully expanding their lungs, they must take long pauses to rest, and this limitation is their downfall. However, evolution has blessed the monitor lizard with a revolutionary breathing method, enabling it to move continuously and at high speeds. A special pump powered by highly developed throat muscles is located under the monitor lizard's tongue. This pump rapidly forces fresh oxygen into the lungs, allowing the monitor to breathe and run at the same time. The ability to move and breathe simultaneously grants this cold-blooded hunter incredible speed and endurance, allowing it to successfully pursue even fleet-footed, warm-blooded animals, often with devastating success. These ancient creatures are credited with a cunning intelligence, but sometimes their indiscriminate appetite can have unfortunate consequences. For example, we are witnessing the last meal of an overzealous Perenti, who dreamed of devouring a particularly feisty prey only to find himself on death's door. In addition to a keenly developed sense of smell, monitor lizards also have excellent eyesight and a remarkable memory. They possess an uncanny ability to recall every detail of their hunting grounds, and thanks to their lithe bodies and powerful claws, they routinely probe even the most inaccessible locations in search of hidden prey. This time, the monitor's attention has been captured by another representative of the infamous brown snake family, an incredibly venomous individual scientifically known as Pseudonaja nuchalis. Over millions of years of evolution, the Perenti has developed a partial resistance to the toxins of these native inhabitants. Therefore, without the slightest hesitation, it takes to the trail, confidently heading towards its prize and ensnaring it within its jaws. The skilled predator displays astonishing agility, clamping down on the helpless snake with its many thin yet incredibly sharp backwards curving teeth. These teeth inflict devastating wounds and leave the unfortunate prey with little to no hope of escaping. But because there is another competitor in these areas, even the apex predator must be wary, and Perenti are not the only major predators in Australia, so they should always be on the lookout. The smallest mistake can cost them their lives. To avoid becoming prey themselves, they can inflate their bodies and hiss menacingly, but sometimes this proves ineffectual, and the only option is to strike out with a powerful tail to ward off attackers. More often than not, these savvy lizards will simply feign death or rely on brute speed to escape from any tricky situation. Successful hunters take a long time to become something the average individual will never accomplish. The challenges of life are prevalent from day one, so the mother will push her children to succeed from the moment they are able. More than 8 months before tiny monitor lizards are born, and from the moment of their birth, each and every one of them is utterly and completely on their own. Deprived of any form of parental care, these vulnerable newborns must not only find their own food, but also find ways to evade a dizzying array of predators, including larger members of their own species, because cannibalism is a common and accepted practice within the lizard community. Only the fastest, most alert, and incredibly lucky are destined to survive these perilous early years, eventually reaching adulthood, living for upwards of 20 years, and ascending to the throne as a true king of lizards. If you reveled in the facts, please throw in a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more great content. See you soon.